a roll call. And please say here, unmute yourself and say here when I call you out. Kathy Barr.
Here.
Michael Birkmeyer.
Here.
Whitney Brasington.
Here.
Tara Brosa.
Here.
Sherry Carpenter.
I'm just now admitting her into the waiting room.
I see her coming in. I see her coming in. We'll come back. Felicia Colbert-Setzer.
Here.
Jeff Dreyer's here. Stephanie Edward not here. Krista Neubauer.
Here.
Sherry Carpenter, can you hear us? Sherry Carpenter.
Here, I'm here.
Gotcha. Okay. Lynette Orbovich.
Here.
Scott Reese.
Here.
Jennifer Schaefer. Amber Westall Briggs. Debbie Woodard.
Here.
Okay. That looks like we only have 11 members. Is that correct? Did I miss anybody on the board? I know we have guests along. Anybody I did not call out?
Not everybody here.
Okay, so, and we said we needed 13 for a quorum?
That's correct.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we only have 11, so we can't take action on any votes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
I have a question.
sir.
I am the representative from Allegheny County. You have me down as a guest, so I take it I'm not a member.
Rebecca?
Yes,
Keith?
you're on the consortium board, but that doesn't count toward our count for the workforce board members.
I tried.
I know, I appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
Okay, what does decorum call for in this situation? Do we move along?
I don't think we can. We'll just have to table all 4 of those items for our July meeting.
Okay, and we've also got is there new board member introductions? I don't think so.
No?
Or is there? Okay. Well then, by golly, that moves us all the way along to the director's report.
Well, to our presenter,
I'm sorry,
Assistant Secretary.
we have a
Flowers.
presenter. I don't have that on my agenda.
I'm here though.
You're here though. All right.
I am.
All right.
I'm early for a change, and I stand ready to vote if you guys need me to.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, our presentation is going to be from Kenny Flowers. He's the Assistant Secretary of the Rural Economic Development part of the North Carolina Department of Commerce, and we're glad to have him with us today.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Kenny, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, Jeff, thanks. And Keith, thanks so much for the outreach. You and Rebecca for having me on today. You know, I have a couple things that I'm disappointed in. One, that I'm still trapped in place in Raleigh more than I'd like to be. And second is I can't be out there with you guys today and meeting and greeting. The finest thing about this job that I do is getting a chance to go out and be in the community and meet folks and build those partnerships, because it's super important. But we always enjoy an opportunity to talk about our programs and always consider ways to partner too. I'd be preaching to the choir if I start to tell you guys how important our workforce is to economic development and all the good things that happen in North Carolina. We've worked very closely with the workforce team here at Commerce proper. Jess Englert, who was here before and left recently, and Chet Mottershead is the same way. We look for reasons to get together and partner and see how we can align and invest, because that one It's what makes our state the strongest and what really positions us to do well. It's super important. So I'll make a deal with you. I'll chat and be brief today and maybe give you some time to get a few more members on so you can vote a little bit later. But when we get back to full force, I want you guys to invite me somewhere other than this computer screen to come and circle up and talk to you, okay? You got a deal?
That's a promise, Kenny. We'll have you here in person as soon as things open up more.
All right, Keith, I see the recording going, so I'm gonna make sure that you do that. I want to share my screen and before I get started and make sure I do that right. And I'm assuming I just click like normal on the share screen. It says the host is disabled, screen participating.
I'm gonna make you a co-presenter.
Okay.
So let me find you in my list. Taylor. So.
And don't you guys love this new environment? I know we've been doing it for a while, but it's just it's something to get used to. And I enjoy the free time that we had before because it seems like we meet more often and more consistently and longer in this virtual environment than we did in person. So some good things that go forward, but also I could use a break. So are we ready?
You're ready. I've made you the co-host and you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. Let's see. This is what I want to share. All right, looking good. So our Rural Economic Development Division is a big part of what we do at Commerce. North Carolina is really unique in as much as the rural component of economic development is a standing piece of the overall economic development enterprise. And I've given presentations around the country and to groups that are in other states that see it as really unique and I think really a great opportunity. I don't have to tell you how difficult sometimes it is for our rural communities to compete. So it's important that we have representation around the table, both at Commerce and outside externally, that can really allow us to do that. And I just say again that as we go through kind of a bit about our programs, I'd love for you to think of ways that we can align and partner and get out there together to stand forward for our communities and to push forward for prosperity all across North Carolina, but I'm a little bit biased in our rural areas. Our division is charged with building partnerships with rural communities that really support economic development, growth and success and prosperity. We do that through a number of targeted programs, and we're fortunate to have granted and engagement programs that allow us to engage with communities at a high level, allowing us to invest in critical infrastructure that's so important, neighborhood revitalization that we know is important to our communities, downtown and Main Street development, really leveraging those assets in downtowns that we think are so important for our communities, local government capacity building, which is very critical to our rural communities, and then some very important community and economic development projects that really allow us to engage in communities, partner with communities, and create jobs and investments across rural North Carolina. Everything we do starts with the team, and you guys know this well, and I talk about our partnerships with workforce and other divisions, but I'll go out on a limb and say that the best in the business is our Rural Economic Development Division staff. They are truly committed professionals who are focused on building those strong partnerships and really building them with depth so that the partnerships with our communities last well beyond any projects that we're doing, because the faces will change at Commerce. The faces will change at the communities, and we want to make sure that we don't lose that connectivity, communities don't lose that connectivity, and that work is very important, and our team does a great job at doing that. The work is super important because and I know that these are very important times for our rural communities. I mean, it was tough anyway, but you think about the issues that were exacerbated because of the pandemic and the things that we have to deal with statewide, but especially how they impact some of our smaller communities, our small businesses, our local government. So it's super important work. And we are very fortunate in North Carolina to have what I think it is an amazing commitment across the board to building stronger rural communities and to rural prosperity. From our legislative leadership, who's really supported us in investing in our programs over the years, continually engaging and finding ways that we can broaden what we do. And we certainly appreciate that. The governor's office and Governor Cooper, who has been a true advocate for rural North Carolina, and you've seen it in his most recent budgets that he submitted, each one having a robust rural development component that really allowed us, or would allow us to do some things that are super important for rural communities. And then his Hometown Strong initiative, that's a priority for him that has really galvanized state government agencies around rural development and rural prosperity. And our team is a big part of that. Our workforce team, Chet, has been extremely active on Hometown Strong, but really allowing us to learn more about how other agencies operate so that we can align, leverage, and invest better in support of our rural communities. And I think, when we do that, we really get a chance to move the needle on a number of key and critical rural issues, those issues that you know as well as I do, workforce development being one of those key issues, infrastructure being another, housing and housing availability really being an issue that I think we can move the needle on that's needed, because we know that the lack of housing opportunities and options all across our state, but especially in our rural communities, is critical. And then local government capacity building. You heard me mention that earlier. And I truly believe that this is one of the more critical issues that our small rural communities face. When you talk about stress points that largest cities and towns don't have to worry about, that small towns do, that have very limited staff and very limited capacity. Day-to-day administration is a challenge sometimes. Delivering public service is a challenge sometimes. Developing, designing, and implementing projects is a challenge many times. And then just the general readiness for economic development opportunities and investments. We need to make sure that those communities are ready. And so building capacity is critical there all across the board. And I think if we continue to work together and do that, we certainly will build what I think is a super strong ecosystem for rural prosperity and economic development. My slides are not changing for me, so I don't know if you operate from that end, but for
She
there
doesn't.
you go. Was that you or me?
That's one of us, it's a teamwork.
There you see. I got you. We'll try next time. So, so that's how we really try and kind of move forward with our programs. We have a very simple and yet a complex mission at the Rural Economic Development Division. It's to engage, enhance, and help transform rural North Carolina. Engaging and investing in ways that help communities become more competitive, and certainly helping communities increase capacity. Excuse me, as I talked about a second ago, and most importantly, really impacting and helping to enhance the quality of life in our rural communities. Everything that we do in our programs is guided by this mission. And again, we think it's simple, but certainly complex. When you're talking about transforming anything, that's big in my eyes, but we certainly need to invest and partner in ways that allow us to do that. I mentioned our targeted programs in my opening, and we have 5 base programs under the Rural Economic Development Division that allow us to partner with communities and engage and invest in ways that we think make a significant difference. A good mix of state and federal programs that really allows us to leverage these together to build packages for businesses and industry and local governments that help us get projects moving forward and implemented. Our Community Development Block Grant, and most of you are probably familiar with that. It's a federal program that's been around forever, provides grants for economic development, neighborhood revitalization. The economic development component has infrastructure, building reuse and repurposing buildings to support business and industry, and obviously infrastructure, water, sewer, natural gas, and road access to business and industry, the true lifeblood of economic development. But our neighborhood revitalization program is a super important part of CDBG, because you heard me reference it earlier, and I'll say it again and again. One of those issues that we really need to grab hold of in North Carolina, get some additional resources and some additional capacity is housing, rural housing, workforce housing, all those things that we know are super important. So our neighborhood revitalization program provides grants for housing and housing related projects, neighborhood revitalization projects. And we want to see this one grow and grow in a big way. Our state rural grants is our legislative appropriation that we get annual, provides grants for infrastructure as well, building reuse and building demolition, You'll notice that it mirrors the Community Development Block Grant Program a lot. CDBG can be kind of heavy in terms of administration sometimes because it's a federal program and the guidelines and regs are a bit steeper than some of our state grant programs. So we have that mirror program. So again, we can piece together which program works with the projects that we're doing in our rural communities. But our building reuse program under our state rural grants appropriation is by far our most popular program at the rural division. Communities use that time and time again to help businesses expand so that they can stay, create new jobs and stay in rural North Carolina, and also to upfit buildings so that we can get new business and industry across our state. Our Appalachian Regional Commission focuses on our 29 westernmost counties. Again, a program, federal program that's been around forever, targeting Appalachia, providing grants and engagement programs that support workforce development, leadership development, infrastructure, business development, and local government capacity building. A common theme across our programs that you're here, that really give us a chance to engage with local governments at a high level. Our utility account that's funded by the Industrial Fund and the Job Development Investment Grant Program provides grants to publicly owned infrastructure projects with a high priority from us on industrial site development, because we believe in the short term in terms of positioning these communities to create jobs and take advantage of the wonderful workforce that we have, that having that product, having that inventory, ready infrastructure sound around industrial sites and buildings that businesses can come to is one of the biggest boosts that we can give communities in the short term, because you don't want to miss out on opportunities because you're not ready. You don't want a company to say, I'm going to Charlotte because we don't have the infrastructure in place at a site in Rocky Mount or in Western North Carolina or in the far northeastern part of North Carolina. We don't want to miss those opportunities. And then finally, our Main Street and Rural Planning Center, a critical engagement program that we have at Commerce. You all are probably familiar with the Main Street program. Most of the communities that are impacted by the COG and the region there have a number of Main Street communities. We provide training, education, technical assistance to our Main Street communities to help them leverage their downtowns and their business districts as assets, because we think it's so important. I personally believe that in our rural communities across this state, rural towns, that the biggest asset that they have most times is our downtown districts, and being able to build and leverage them in support of economic development, growth, and families is super important. The planning component of our Main Street program is our prosperity zone planners. We have rural planners that support local COGS and economic development staff and planners at the county level. And we think we really support, those missions well. We see these folks as the entryway, if you will, to our programming, our eyes on the ground that really give us a good opportunity to learn what the real issues are in our regions, in our cities and towns across the state. And they're the first point of contact for our locals in terms of connecting with our programs many times. We work hand in hand with our Council of Government, as I said, and local planners to make sure that in those small towns that don't have planners, we can provide some support there. We can partner with our COGS and other partners to make sure that we don't miss opportunities to support our rural communities. So these are our programs, and we certainly believe that they give us a chance to invest in and engage at a high level with our communities. We build and advance them around 4 strategic priorities, and I'll just touch on them quickly because I think it's important. This is how we evaluate how well we're doing, how well we're partnering, how well we are representing what we think the department needs to in terms of supporting our rural communities. The first is building a strong ecosystem for prosperity. You heard me reference that earlier. But are we helping communities take those steps forward? Are we helping the distance shrink between where communities are now in prosperity? Are we partnering with folks like you and the COGS and other external partners and other state government agencies to make sure that we don't miss opportunities to leverage and support of our communities? The second is fostering job growth and capital investment. And anybody that's ever heard of a commerce department in any state, anywhere in history knows that this is job one, day one for all of those agencies, creating jobs and investments for the state. That's what departments of commerce are charged with doing everywhere. But we really believe that we have a higher level obligation to really double down on that in our rural communities so that we don't miss opportunities. That's why we have that heavy dose of investment in infrastructure and partnership to make sure that communities are ready, that they have the inventory, that they have the product so that companies don't pass by when they're looking at our small towns in our rural communities in North Carolina. And then enhancing local government capacity, I've spent some time on that. So I'll just reaffirm that I think this is one of the more critical issues that our communities face, and we will do everything we can to help you. And then finally, prioritizing engagement and collaboration. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to continue to come out and sit and talk with you and local government reps and citizens and everybody else to make sure that we don't miss opportunities. We have wonderful investment and engagement programs that are impactful all by themselves. But if we are truly committed to that mission, folks, and we talk about being transformative, we must align and leverage and invest together with our partners and state agencies, federal agencies, and other external partners. It's too important not to do it, and I think we're obligated to make sure that we don't miss those opportunities. In my estimation, this is the most important priority that we have, making sure that we partner and collaborate in support of our rural communities. This will just give you a good glimpse of some of the impacts we're having across the state. I want you to have a chance to see how our programs are impacting communities from the mountains to the coast. The small dots represent projects that we have, but you'll see that over the past 2 years, we've had $205 million in grant awards to rural local governments that supported 225 grant projects. Our planners and our Main Street team have done over 110 strategic plans and 70 market studies. And we've partnered formally with more than 500 communities in pushing these projects forward and understanding that is an important piece of it. So real broad impacts. Our programs, we think, are super important to building that strong foundation for economic development success that we talked about earlier. Wanted to mention our Rural Infrastructure Authority, very important part of what we do. They govern a portion of our funding, and we have representation from every corner of the state. And they do a great job in ensuring that we get them good projects that they can fund and in support of our local governments. They are very focused on getting resources through our agency and out to the local governments. If it's one priority they have, they say over and over again, it is that. It was established in 2013, and FY 2020, they awarded $37.1 million that helped us create almost 3,700 jobs in rural North Carolina, and that is significant. Finally, we talked about our programs and just wanted to give you an idea of the kinds of things that we do, solutions that we think we offer to communities as we partner through our grant programs. And I touched on it as we talked about the programs, but funding for infrastructure upgrades, and I mentioned building reuse being our most popular program on the state side, very popular on the federal side as well. Industrial site development, again, prioritizing that as a short-term boost that we can give communities from a readiness standpoint so that they are ready for economic development opportunities. Downtown revitalization, and I'll smile and say it one more time. I just think our downtown districts are so important to the overall growth and development of our communities, creating a sense of place, building that strong resource for families to take advantage of and for businesses to look in and say, this will be an asset. Our workers will want to be a part of this community. We want to be active and engaged in downtown and supporting our small businesses again in our downtown districts, especially coming out of this pandemic. It's a symbiotic relationship. Small businesses are the heart and soul of Main Streets in America and Main Streets in North Carolina. And there was a double whammy on both of them as it related to losses from the pandemic and trying to come back and recover. So we want to make sure we don't miss opportunities there. Housing and neighborhood revitalization, you heard me talk about that, how important it is. And certainly the planning, strategic planning, economic development planning that we offer through our planning and Main Street team. And then end with what I think, again, is the most important thing we do, engaging at a high level, building those strong partnerships that help make our community strong and help make me smile as I go about doing the business of the Rural Economic Development Division each day. So, with that, I'll say once again, it's just exciting for me to be with you today. Thanks so much for having me. Certainly look forward to the continued partnership. And once again, the in-person time when you guys have me out there after this is all said and done. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate the insight and what you do, and maybe personally myself have a better understanding how we can help solidify that partnership, because there are a lot of issues out there that we have to work together. And between this morning's call and your presentation, Ted Abernathy, he went into a lot of things this morning. It was just very eye-opening for me. And you know, there's many more issues going on with infrastructure. You know, quality, affordable childcare. You know, that's all part of it. You know,
Exactly.
housing, like you said, affordable housing. I mean, there's so many things that we all touch, and we all depend on one another to bring all this together. And that's kind of our task as Workforce Development Board, to partner with everybody out there. So thank you so much, Kenny. I appreciate that.
It was my pleasure. And again, thanks for having me, guys, and have a great meeting.
Mhm. Rebecca, do we have any other presenters?
No, we do not.
Okay. All right.
So beyond the East report.
Yep, that's right. Keith, it's yours.
Hello, everyone. It's always a pleasure to see everybody and be with the best workforce development board in the state of North Carolina. So I have some director's report remarks, and a little bit, I guess they're going to be brief, but I got a whole lot of extra time since we had a short meeting. So Felicia, that means I can talk a lot longer today, and you got to listen to me.
I wish
All
Kenny
right.
had stayed on and continued.
All right, to start off my director's report for May 13th, 2021, the High Country Workforce Development Board has submitted their annual plan update to the North Carolina Division of Workforce Solutions. It was submitted on May 7th, 2021. As always, you hear me talk about my angels. Two of my angels, well, all three of them did a lot of it. Caroline, the financial portion, and of course, Misty, the operations and programs, and Rebecca, the business services. So once again, we put together an outstanding annual report update, and it could not have happened without Misty, Rebecca, and Caroline. And I had a small part in there, but they did a great job, and we will hear if we have to submit anything else, if they want further clarification on anything. My executive staff and I are in the process of evaluating outreach and marketing materials for the NC Works Career Centers in the High Country region. So we'll be looking at some things that will give us recognition, branding, and will be a resource for people to know about the great programs and services, workforce services that are available. A lot of that is going to be that we were cognizant and very fiscal conservative with our money. Of course, you know, the branding has changed and the new logo, but you know how I am with money. I want more money, but I also don't spend it frivolously. So we were going to use all of the remaining brochures and printed materials before we purchase more just to throw away. So we're getting to that point where we are now going to be purchasing and having brochures and outreach materials printed so that when our career advisors and our case managers, when they're in business service BSRs, when they're out there in the community, we can provide the community with great information that will make their light bulb come on and say, oh yeah, I got this good information, so that it will make more awareness of our great workforce services that we're providing. The bad news is the WIOA Performance Year 2021 allocations for North Carolina have come out, and North Carolina stands to lose $7 million in Title I WIOA funds for Performance Year 21. So actually, North Carolina, across the WIOA program, our workforce system, is going to lose $7,004,115. I'm waiting on the local allocations that will tell what each workforce board is going to be hit with, but it was a decrease across all programs. Our adult program, our Title I adult, Title I youth, Title I dislocated worker, and Title III Wagner Pizer also took a hit and decrease. I won't read those numbers to you, but I will get those to Rebecca, and they will be in the minutes so that you can see them. But yeah, we were losing, like in each fund, even anywhere from $1 million to $2 million cuts across the whole state, not just our portion. But that will trickle down, and we will see a cut, which it's very ironic, and I think it's crazy in these uncertain times of when people are clamoring, needing people to work, and just going through the pandemic, where we are foreseeing that we are going to have to redevelop and retrain workers for the new jobs that are out there and the new careers. But we will persevere and go on. Like the old saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And the workforce region in the high country, NC Work Centers and workforce partners, we will rise to the occasion, even with those cuts, to be able to provide workforce services. But I'll keep you posted. Maybe there will be more federal money coming out in plans, but right now we are anticipating in North Carolina a $7 million cut to workforce funding across the state. So Felicia, I'm gonna be asking for some more money from you from somewhere.
And we have none.
Next, the High Country Workforce Development Board, NC Works, Goodwill of Northwest North Carolina, Wilkes Community College, and VR participated in the Spring Job Fair. It was very unique. It was done virtually. It was held in April and May, and it was done by industry sectors. This is usually held in person at the John A. Walker Center on the campus of Wilkes Community College, but it was held virtually. We are anticipating that we will be doing more virtual job fairs, and hopefully as things get better, we can get back to doing holding in-person job fairs and job fairs in person. But it was a first time test, and for virtual, it went pretty well for a first time. Enrollments were a little lower than we wanted, but I think as more people get accustomed to the idea of the virtual platform, we will have success in the future with that. Also, the NC Works held an official rapid response layoff event for hospitality mints on May 6, 2021. It was a successful event. It included Anita Lowe from NC Works, Robert Allen Osborne from NC Works, Jessica Greer from NC Works and Goodwill, Brian Lane from NC Works, Jim Stout from Vocational Rehab, Jimmy Griffin from Caldwell Community College. Information was covered for the Department of Social Services, and they did an official rapid response for about 40 employees. There were 13 that were unable to attend due to production issues, and they were left packets so that they would be able to contact and have that services. And hospitality mints will close on June 1st, 2021. So they did do an official rapid response. Also, I want to make you aware of our workforce partner, Goodwill Industries of the Northwest, under the coordination of the great Scott Henson. They did a mini job fair at Hospitality Mints, and Scott coordinated that. And what was so great about that, they brought in, it was outside, it was a real cold, brisk day, so everybody was sort of trying to hold on to their information at the table and talk to people. But it was really good because they did a mini job fair outside under pop-up tents, and I believe only one pop-up tent blew away, but it wasn't ours, but they were able to keep them anchored down. but it included, as you all know, Hospitality Mints has been in the Boone area for more than 40 years. But at that mini job fair that Scott coordinated, that was really a benefit and was thinking outside of the box, they invited qualified manufacturing HR managers and such businesses as Charleston Forge, Goodnight Brothers, the Hampton Inn, Bernhardt Furniture, PRC Industries, American Emergency Vehicles, AEV, and the NC Work staff. They were able to be there, and they had manufacturing companies that were interested in the people that were being laid off, so that provided them with employment options if they wanted to go directly into another job. So thank you, Scott and Goodwill, for doing that mini job fair that was followed up with an actual official state rapid response. As you can see, you say, well, why were you doing two? We want to make sure that we provide the best service to our business and industries, and saturation and penetration to get that information out there to make sure that the needs of our job seekers, employers, and business and industry are met. So I'm very happy that they were able to assist that business, and that's what that great workforce staff in the High Country region does. So kudos to them for that, and I was greatly pleased with it. I attended it and I didn't blow away, so it was a great event, and that's what we're going to continue to do to meet our business and industry and employer and job seeker needs. Also, the High Country Workforce Development Board staff and NC Work staff and Malin Community College staff attended an industry tour of PTRC in Spruce Pine on April the 22nd. That was a very informative visit, and we learned a lot. I never knew what all happened at PTRC, but it was very eye-opening, and it was good to be able to get out and connect with business and industries and see their actual work site and the work that is going on in those sites, so that when our career advisors or people in the NC Work Center, they can say, oh yeah, I toured that, and they can tell the job seeker or somebody that's wanting a job what that industry does or what that employer does and what that type of work is. So we were happy that we were able to get out and do a employer and industry tour, because that is so vital in the workforce services system. I participated in the We Want You Back meeting, and you guys might be seeing a lot of that on Facebook. It is mainly isolated, situated in Wilkes County. It's a PR public relations campaign to let Marcus Smith and Speedway Motorsports Incorporated know that Wilkes County wants the North Wilkesboro Speedway to reopen for economic development and revitalization to occur. I will keep you all posted. This would be a good economic engine driver for the region, because they're planning on fixing the track up, having some formula races. Not saying that NASCAR races are coming back, but the fact that that venue could hold formula races, smaller races, and be a venue for concerts and other great stuff. Already the guy from Camping World is saying that he is interested in putting a store down there. So the people in Wilkes are very hopeful that this will come to fruition this time. I know in the years past, we've had those, oh, it's going to open back up. But what I've been telling people is that what makes this so different is that it's the Smith family that owns Speedway Motorsports International. They own the Wilkes track as well as the track in Nashville. So Marcus Smith has indicated that he has not forgotten the North Wilkesboro Speedway, and there are going to be plans for redevelopment and revitalization, which would be great for our region, because that will bring more people in. And as the hotels and industries, hotels fill up there, they will trickle on up the mountain, and people will make this a destination where they'll say, okay, I'm already in Wilkes, so let's go on farther up into the high country. So we're all in this together, and we hope that that will take flight, and expect great things from that campaign. Also want to let you know that Southern Industrial in Ashe County is doing an incumbent worker grant. Training funds are still available for local employers. So the word is out there. And please utilize and make use of those incumbent worker training grants that we are offering. If you need more information, contact your NC Works Career Center, or Rebecca Bloomquist can give you more information. Kristen, are you still on here? Yes. I'll read a note from Kristen Neubauer and the GE plant in Jefferson. They wanted to extend a grateful thank you for us helping them through the grant process and approval. By being awarded this grant, they said that their shop has a greater opportunity to build and provide a better skill set for their employees, increasing their chances of winning more work in the future. They said, we appreciate your time and effort in helping make this happen for their shop and look forward to working together in the near future. That is from GE Aviation and West Jefferson team. So they also participated and did an incumbent worker grant and found it very beneficial and successful. Kristen, would you like to say anything about that grant?
Yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity for us to continue some of our kind of lean excellence training for several employees in the plant. And, it's paying off. That the shop has turned the corner and volume is picking back up. And just a huge thank you. And Keith, I'm glad you got that note from the whole team. We really appreciate the support.
And let me clarify, that note was for the whole High Country Workforce Development Board, High Country Workforce Development Board staff, and the NC Works Career Center. As you've heard me say, it takes a village to raise a child, so we're all in this together, and it was all workforce partners working together that made that a great success. Also, I would like to congratulations are in order to our NC Works Career Advisor, Reggie Torrance. He is in the NC Works Center in North Wilkesboro. Reggie Torrance has been named and is receiving the Achiever of the Year award from Goodwill Industries of the Northwest. We are very proud of Reggie. If you guys have not met Reggie, you are in for a treat. He is a very tenacious, very curious and very dedicated career service advisor. We are happy that he was selected for this great award, and we look forward to seeing him receive that award. He gives it 110% and is always willing to go for the best and striving to reach the highest heights of success. So we once again congratulate Reggie. And I'll send a congratulations out and copy the board on it so you guys can share in congratulating him on that great achievement. We are greatly proud of him. Next, for you High Country Workforce Development Board members, we desperately need you to complete your Code of Conduct Conflict of Interest forms. Those were mailed out in November. Rebecca has not received them, so go back in your email and let's get those in. We need those to be sent back in to Rebecca by May 19th of 2021. If you haven't sent yours in, please do so. And if you have, thank you very much. And if you can't find that, I'm sure we can resend that out to the ones that if it got lost or your email ghost or gremlin ate it. But we do need to get those in so that we can be in compliance and have those signed forms for each of our board members. And at this point, believe it or not, Felicia, that concludes my director's report for me. But now we move into the part that makes me look good, that I always look forward to, because you get to hear from the operators and what is happening at the local level in their region. So as part of my director's report, next you will hear from Pam Wilson, the NC Works operator and NC Works Career Center manager for Avery, Mitchell, Yancey counties. Then you will hear from the NC Works operator and NC Works career manager, Charity Patterson, who is the operator for Allegheny, Ash, Wilkes, and Watauga. And then you will hear words from Felicia Setzer if she has anything from the state that needs to, from the Division of Workforce Solutions to make us aware of. So Pam, you're it.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you have a full tank of gas. Because if it's like it is here in your area, that is really, really scarce to come by. So, just to kind of talk about what's been happening this quarter, traffic in the centers have started to pick up somewhat. A lot of that is still virtual service, computer, phone. We do have some coming into the office. We're still doing those by appointment only, which honestly has worked really well, in my opinion, not only to protect us from COVID, but it's given us opportunity, I think, to even better serve people. It never fails. If you have walk-ins, everybody comes in at the same time and you're rushing through trying to get one done onto another one. But it's given us a good chance to have those appointments and set aside plenty of time to help folks. So also this quarter, with public schools getting ready to be out and our seniors graduating, we've been working with all of our local high schools to get information to the seniors about the local labor market and what's available here for them, particularly with the need that we're seeing right now of our local employers. You know, they're desperate for employees. And so, you know, we really want to let those seniors know there's things right here for you. So we have sent materials, done videos into classrooms and several different things around that. We did also do a virtual ACT day. Normally that's done in person, but at least we were able to do that virtually this year. And that was with all the freshmen, all the sophomores, and we did a presentation on deciding your career and what employers are looking for. We also did have a request from a private school to come in and speak with all of their students. So we did that and did some first impression workshops with those students. We've also been targeting some Pacific college classes to go in and meet with. Right now we're in an unusual position that there's so much funding out there for people to go to school that all of their school costs are covered. But one thing that they can't get is an internship that allows them to have work experience on the job that then in turn helps them to be hired. So that's the piece that we've been targeting, trying to get them into those internships, get them those experiences, and then moving them into jobs. We've also been visiting GED orientation sessions, all of those. Like Keith said, we had the PRC tour. And PRC is actually in a position that they have a new contract and they are needing 1,000 employees, which there again, in this economy is very trying. So we're doing all we can to help them, and we'll actually be going on their site to help them do some things when they're having hiring days. We're also are experiencing right now with Sabelco a layoff. They had announced it in early April, but now has come time for them to start those series of layoffs. This week will be the first round, and then throughout the year they will be laying off others. Unfortunately, with the way they were doing that, there wasn't a good opportunity for us to go in and do our normal rapid response meeting, but I am taking materials for them to have packets to give to their employees. So, and one of the last things, but certainly one of the most important things that we've been focusing on is contacting our employers that we are particularly seeing struggle. we want to make sure that they know we're here and what we can do to help them and that we're here to support them. So been quite a bit going on. That's all I have.
Thank you, Pam. Charity?
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Keith took a lot of our thunder to get me Jessica, so I may repeat some of it just because Jessica and I wanted to say it.
It sound better coming from you guys.
As always, I am pleased to give an update on the NC Works Career Centers in Ash, Allegheny, Wilkes, and Watauga. As Pam said, we are definitely still seeing customers by appointment, but our walk-in traffic along with the appointment traffic is just like we're open to the public. It's like nothing's changed. We're busy as we always have been. We're also continuing our community and business outreach. Back in January, we began a Northwest Prosperity topic series, which is a series of trainings for regional staff through a collaboration with the NC Works Training Center, our Regional Operations Director, Felicia Colbert-Setzer, the High Country Workforce Development Board, Western Piedmont Workforce Development Board, and Region C. Just to hold topics that have included integrated service delivery, WIOA overview, and unemployment overview. Also, through a collaboration with Goodwill and the Watauga County Public Library, on March 19th, we held a virtual workshop titled Resume Creation and Job Interviewing in a Virtual World, Tips and Tricks. And that was just some interviewing tips and some resume building tips that were provided by Scott Hinkson and Anita Lowe and the public library. So that went over very well. I think at the last meeting, we told you that we were starting an 8-week virtual Working Smart series that concluded today. And we ended the course with 3 graduates. And so for that being our first time doing a virtual Working Smart, I think that was a very good number to have an 8-week course and actually have 3 people continue on and complete. So we were very excited about that. You've already heard about the job fair that was held at Hospitality Mints that was put together by Scott. And so that went very well. On April 30th, the NC Works Career Center staff from Ash, Allegheny, Wilkes, and Watauga participated in team building activities through a partnership with YMCA Camp Harrison. So we did exercises that promoted teamwork and asking others for assistance, because this was the first time that all staff was able to actually get together since COVID. So we had the Goodwill staff and the Division of Workforce Solutions staff together as a team. And so it was great to have everybody out in a space where we could socially distance and work on some team building and just get to know each other. On May the 4th, NC Works visited Millers Creek Christian School to speak to their seniors about the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act and other services offered through NC Works. NC Works has been visiting the community colleges to speak to them about the Finish Line Grant, WIOA, on-the-job training and work experiences. Our Finish Line Grant and WIOA enrollments have greatly increased in the last few months, thanks to the outreach efforts of our staff, our career advisors with WIOA. And we had a collaboration, NC Works and Wilkes had a collaboration with ASU where we held some resume workshops and some soft skills workshops for some of their students at Appalachian State University. So some upcoming events, NC Works Career Center in Watauga will be hosting a job fair for Tweetsie Railroad on May 24th. And Anita, did we ever get the times for that?
Sorry, it takes me a moment to unmute. That will be from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock here at the center.
So that's May 24th from 11 to 1 at NC Works Career Center in Watauga for Tweetsie Railroad. And we are excited to get back to our partnership with Eckerd Connects beginning June 14th. They are allowed to have us back on site. And as soon as they were clear to have visitors on site, they contacted us to get back to our Working Smart program. So that is a program that is very, very dear to us because we definitely enjoy being out there and assisting them with just the skills that they need to be successful in their journey in life. So I think that's all from us. We've got some great things going on here in the 4 counties as always. Jessica, Anita, did I leave anything out?
I think between you and Keith, you got mostly everything.
And yeah, and like, you know, one thing that we definitely wanted to mention, and Keith already did, was the fact that Reggie Torrance is Goodwill's Achiever of the Year. So we are very proud of him.
Yes, very proud of Reggie.
Thank you, Charity. Felicia Colbert Setzer, you have any
Hello,
words of
Keith.
wisdom?
Hello, Keith Devereaux. First, let me say I was excited to see Kenny on our agenda today. Kenny and I graduated from college together. So I'm always excited to see Kenny. And had he stayed on long, I would have told him why it's so hard for me to do things here in the high country, but he got off too early. At any rate, I was gonna say, you know, your numbers are holding steady in the high country, which is great, particularly in Wilkes. And you know, it doesn't seem like you're just providing services virtually or by appointment only. It seems like those doors are open based on the numbers that are running through there. So I wanted to say that to you. Wanted to talk about the cuts a little bit. The cuts that they're making just makes us ensure that we're providing effective and efficient services. And as you know, historically, the funding is always behind the curve. So it's as if when we need the money is not there, and then the money comes in a big gush. So we're just going to hope that that happens again. And for the record, Keith, I have no money. This morning on the workforce board had their spring, I think, seminar or conference. It was really good because they had Ted Abernathy on, an economist, and he talked about the economic rebound that is forecast for later on this summer. So that makes me excited, but somewhat nervous because every employer is asking us for people, and we're doing everything we can short of cloning folk to try to find those for them. So we're going outside of the box. I'm asking all managers in the Northwest to think outside of the box for ways in which we can bring more people into the workforce. And so we're looking at that. We're working hand in hand, kind of like what Pam said and what Charity said, to talk to employers to ensure them that we're all on the same team, looking to help you to do what we can do. I also want to recognize the regional training that's happening. That includes the 3 workforce boards in the Northwest. It includes High Country, Western Piedmont, and Region C, as Charity says. And I want to recognize Brian Lane, who is the regional analyst, and Misty, who helps on that team to schedule those and plan those trainings. They've done, they brought an expert in from UI, they've done WIOA updates, they've done a lot of different things. So, that's something outside of what they normally do for us that they're doing to ensure that the whole region is being trained. So thank you so much, Brian and Misty. And finally, I want to say 2 things. Number one, the High Country is doing an amazing job with getting out and talking to employers and reaching out to the community colleges. And even though COVID is here, they're still doing an amazing job. That's number one. And number 2, last Friday, Charity Hamburg did the DWS Friday update. And so what happens, and that is for all of commerce. And she basically talked to all of commerce about the amazing things that are happening in the High Country and with the centers in the High Country, and excuse me, and the services that are being provided. She did an amazing job. And so I wanted to recognize her for that, and then have her to share that link with you all, with you, Keith, and you can share it also with the board members so they can see exactly what happened. This is an internal thing that we do for commerce, but I think it would be helpful for the board to see that as well. So Charity, if you could share that link with Keith so that he can share it out. In commerce, as you know, we're having some changes. We have a new secretary. We're getting a lot of new people. And so just know that workforce is, as far as I'm concerned, the number one thing that commerce needs to be concerned about.
Yeah.
So as they move, as you know, everything moves and shakes in commerce, please know that we are definitely at the table, ensuring that workforce is not being shuffled around. So wanted to say that to you. And as things come from commerce, big commerce, I definitely will share them with Keith, and thus he can share those with the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. I failed to ask my angels if I forgot anything in my remarks. So Misty, Rebecca, Caroline, you know, sometimes I get forgetful. So is there anything that I did not cover, or is there something that you all need to make the board aware of at this point in time? Before that, I do want, in public comments, I'd like for the business and industry board members, if you guys are hiring, let us know that. I know one thing, and Jessica or Lisa, if you guys will talk about the need for the Goodwill stores needing employment, and the great opportunity that would be for youth employment for the summer and all that. So Misty, Rebecca, Caroline, if I forgot anything or y'all need to make the board aware of anything, the floor is yours.
Hey, I don't have anything in addition. I just want to thank all the staff for all their hard work.
Okay.
I don't have anything either.
And neither do I. I don't know if y'all could hear Rebecca, but
We can hear. Well, I did pretty good today then. Okay. Jessica, Lisa, or Scott, if you guys would talk about the Goodwill hiring needs.
It looks like I'm it right now. I'm like, I'm trying to look at the little boxes so I don't cut anybody off. But so Scott and Lisa specifically, and I'm trying to pitch in and help as much as I can. But so we have edge opportunities in the stores as well as regular positions. But anybody that has a barrier to employment, they can actually work in the stores, and we can work with them to get them immediately hired. And so they can work on building those skills up and some of that barrier removal, or why they attend training in the stores. And so they kind of get a bonus of the career advisor as well as working. And so we have immediate openings in all the stores, as well as regular openings in the stores as well. And we're eager to, as Pam mentioned, get people in the stores, and they're really looking for quite a few right now. So I'm not sure if Scott or Lisa was going to be back, if they wanted to add any more on that, or Sherry, if you have anything you want to add.
No, we just appreciate the opportunity for allowing us to mention that. Just like all employers in our stores, we really are looking for a lot of good help to come our way.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, will you tell us about AEV? Are y'all, your hiring needs are all? At this point, I'd like to hear from the business and industry, our board members, that they represent what their hiring needs or what they're seeing at their places of employment.
Yeah, Keith, thanks. Yeah, AEB is strong. We're always looking for people. We could use a solid dozen people that are willing to work and learn. We'll teach them regardless of the area that they come into. Yeah, just we're constantly looking, and the workforce that we're getting right now is a bit transient. It's not everybody's cup of tea. They don't necessarily stick, but we'll train. So yes, we are definitely looking. And the future's bright. Our backlog is as large as it's been, and it's really kind of cool if you stop and think about what we do and the ambulances that we provide across the nation and around the world, and the mission of these vehicles, and so there's a lot of pride here involved, and there's a lot of pride in oneself, is to think what they're doing to contribute to the mission of each of these vehicles that touch thousands and thousands of people at probably the worst time of their lives. And they're real heroes, and they just don't realize it. And it's my job to tell them that and to let them know that what they do is appreciated. So yes, if somebody wants to do something like that to really make a difference, they'll never know what an unsung hero they might be, or heroine. We've got the spot for them.
Good. Okay. Whitney Brazenton.
Thank you. At Mountain Electronics, we have got a really great, stable workforce right now. We actually hired 5 new people this fall that have all worked out really well. Summertime is typically a little bit slower for us seasonally, just it always is. So we probably won't be hiring anyone this summer, but we've already got a lead on a really great young guy that just recently graduated from Mayland Community College in the electronics program there. He's already applied, and we've kind of said, yeah, we hope to hire you probably in August or September, when our season picks up again. So yeah, we're not looking for anybody right now, but we're very happy with the new people that we've brought on board. So it's all good right now.
Good, that's great. Glad to hear that, Whitney. Scott Reese.
Things are going pretty well for us in the course industry. Pam mentioned Sabelco. Actually, they're really our competition, and so we really believe that mining is big enough for all of us, and so it hurts the entire community when you have job loss. And so we're currently looking. We don't have a lot of turnover, so I didn't have just like open positions to fill, but at the same time, when you have qualified candidates that are already doing the same thing, we've opened those doors to see kind of what's available and to see what we might be able to absorb. And so that would probably be for you, Pam, maybe operator level, maybe chemist, maybe lab, maybe quality, certainly engineers, those types of roles. And so if you want to forward me anything, at this point, I really can't guarantee that that's available, but what we're looking at is trying to help, I guess, where we can. The only other thing that we're looking at is I've been in contact with Keith. You'll know Mickey Duvall and Bill Slagle about a rural building reuse application and trying to look at some of the current structures we have and adding some jobs. But that's probably too early to really talk about, to be honest with you. It's probably going to be August, September time frame, and then maybe Q1 2022 hire. And so what we're looking at is maybe around 10 jobs. And so I know that's a pretty long forecast for today's world, but that's sort of where we're at as far as getting the building ready to handle some more of that type of additions.
Good. Thank you, Scott. Kristen Neubauer.
Hi, thanks, guys. Yeah, so like I mentioned, the aviation business is what it feels to be, kind of on a recovery path. So not quite back to 2019 or pre-COVID levels, but definitely moving in the right direction and much better than what we saw at the start of the pandemic. So from a GE perspective, we did actually just fill our first 2 salary jobs since COVID. So we were very excited for that. We do have 1 salaried role open currently. And we did announce our first round of callbacks. So folks that were impacted that we're working to get back. So very, very positive trend. We're very happy and blessed that things are moving in the right direction. And again, I appreciate all the support from everybody.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. One thing I failed to mention, I've been busy trying to recruit and entice and educate people to join this wonderful board. We have some vacancies, so I've been working on some things of some potential board members pending, but I don't want to say anything about the ones pending because they have to be appointed and approved by elected officials. So by July, I hope that we will be having some new board members administering the oaths to them in July or shortly thereafter. But rest assured, I am working to get those vacancies filled so that we will be back to our functioning number. And Mr. Chairman, I turn it over to you for your chairman's comment and any board member announcements.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and everybody's input. Appreciate the centers and what they're doing. Keep up the great work, everybody. The partnership, like I talked with Kenny and those of you that were on the call this morning, some just great information and some good looking things coming down the pike. Like Felicia said, I hate that we're behind the curve and the wheel of funding gets cut, because that's just, they're lagging indicators that doesn't represent what we're experiencing, and that's a shame. But we've learned to survive and run in that environment, so we've got to be on our toes. So thank you all for all the work that you do, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Are there any other comments from the rest of the board?
Hi, I just wanted to encourage everybody to go to the North Carolina Broadband Infrastructure Survey. It's on ncbroadband.gov. It's for individuals and businesses. You may have already done so, but they're really trying to gather all that data.
Thank you, Lynette. Whitney, you had your hand up.
I just forgot to mention that two of our newest employees came to us through the on the job training program and grants. So thank you to Pam and John Green for that.
Wonderful. Anyone else? All right. Thanks again, Keith, staff, everybody. Is there any public comment, any more public comment at this point in time from anyone?
I didn't receive any prior to the meeting.
I didn't quite hear that, Rebecca.
I didn't receive any prior to the meeting.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. At this point in time, I guess we will call this adjourned. Our next meeting will be Thursday, September 10th. Is that correct? That's what I have. Correct, Rebecca?
8th.
September 8th
July.
of July. Okay. All right. My agenda report's a little
The next meeting will be Thursday, July 8th, 2021 at 2:30 p.m. Board members, Mr. Chairman, we feel that probably it is good. We've had great attendance with the virtual Zoom. Cuts down on you guys' travel time of driving to the meeting. And, still we are under that, COVID restraints, and COVID's still out there. We just wanted to get feedback from the board. The staff and I have been talking, and we have seen that there's value add in the virtual Zoom meetings. How do you guys feel about, we put on there, we would to be determined, but I think we still need to do virtual board meetings for a little while longer, but wanted to hear from the board your wishes.
Anyone?
I vote for Zoom to continue. It's just easier. It's easier because I have to drive an hour and a half to get to Boone. It's just easier for me. But I'll come if you make me.
I think we're still in that window of uncertainty, and I think we probably at least play this from meeting to meeting. The next one I think should be Zoom as well. So that's my opinion.
So we have 6, and I was thinking that probably for the next, looking at, unless there's something that really needs to be, I would recommend for the board that the next 2 meetings probably do, maybe, once things get a little better, maybe we have 1 in-person meeting, but a lot of board members have said that Zoom is really working, and we can conduct the business. So I would like for us to continue with Zoom for at least into the next fiscal year for the next 2 to 3 meetings. As you all know, we only meet 6, and then we'll determine. But safety first, I think that is a great value add. And I would say that we continue with the Zoom, but wanted to get the board feedback Debbie Woodard said it works for her, and Michael Berkmeyer said it was good. So it's a good tool. I think it cuts down on driving time and the health and safety aspect.
Perfect. All right. Anything else from anyone? Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Spring is here. Brighter days are ahead. We'll Zoom you next time. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Y'all take care.
See you.